You know something? I don't get it. Everybody's all hyped up and excited over the fact that Call of Duty is returning to its World War II roots. And I genuinely can't figure out why. To me, it honestly kind of seems like a bad idea. A real bad idea, in fact. And by the time we get to the end of this video, I think you're gonna feel the same way I do. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? It's your favorite little boy in the whole wide world, Ren with two N's. Now, let's get down to business and talk about one of my least favorite franchises. First off, I absolutely despise the Call of Duty multiplayer. Always have. It just, it doesn't allow for much counterplay. The only real skill that comes into it is reflex and positioning. The multiplayer really has just never managed to hook me in. I see its appeal, I always have, and I understand it, but over the past 15 years, I have probably only played somewhere between 10 and 20 multiplayer matches of Call of Duty. I was always more into Halo. I played the Halo games to death. Literally. I played them all the way up until their slow, agonizing, heartbreaking, painful death. So because of that, I have absolutely no footage of Call of Duty, and that's why you're going to be seeing some footage of Destiny pop up throughout the background of this video, the other Activision first-person shooter. Now, with all that out of the way, I think that in the long run, this game's going to wind up being a failure. Not sales-wise, of course it's going to sell very well. But just hear me out. When I was a kid, nearly every single FPS game that came out was set in World War II. Back then, putting your first-person shooter into World War II was the thing to do. It was an incredibly popular genre back then, kind of like the modern military shooter was until just recently. But the list of World War II titles was endless. You had Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Wolfenstein, Brothers in Arms, Battle Stations Midway, Battlefield, Red Orchestra, and it just keeps on going. I spent a good chunk of my childhood being a chunky child playing first-person shooters set in World War II, and I'm over it. I have been for over a decade now. I've taken part in just about every major historic battle World War II has had to offer. I've killed more Krauts than cancer. I've nuked more Nazis than newborn jaundice. And I've eradicated more Aryans than Aaron Carter has eaten anus. And I'm done. I've been there and I've done that countless times. I don't want to play in World War II anymore. It's too much work to go back to Dunkirk. And I'm all done with Wasurubung. I'd rather play something from Tom Clancy than return to the Battle of Nancy. It's all just a bunch of baloney, because I really like the new direction that the FPS genre has been taken over these past few years. We're getting exciting new things, we're getting fun movement, new mechanics, it's colorful, look at the colors of Overwatch. It's been enjoyable, it's been a bit of a renaissance, if you will. I don't want to go back to World War II, I want to do something else. I want to play in an alternate timeline of the war. I want to go to the motherfucking moon.
Copy. Can you hear me? What's your status?
Well, I'm on the motherfucking moon.
The mouse on this one.
Okay, I just gotta take a quick moment to say that Wolfenstein: The New Order is absolutely fantastic. You should pick it up if you haven't played it yet. It's really cheap now. It's been on sale a lot. It's got great characters, incredible atmosphere, fun, fast-paced gameplay. I cannot recommend it enough because I love it.
I love it!
Now, it is possible that younger kids who have never experienced World War II like I have might be more interested in this game than I am. But answer me this. Imagine you're a kid between 7 and 14 years old. What game would you be more interested in? The game where you play in a dark and depressing 80-year-old war? Or what about the game where you take part in one of you and your whole entire family's favorite movie franchises by playing as arguably some of the most iconic characters of all time in Star Wars Battlefront 2? Or how about the game where you get to go to Titan, Saturn's biggest moon, and ride around on a sparrow, shoot at space dogs, punch some space stones, get some cool loot, and go on a fantastical, colorful, magical space adventure? I don't know about you, but if I had to pick between D2, B2, and WW2, I'd pick Destiny. There's just something about that franchise that really appeals to that little boy inside of me. The one I had for dinner last night. And to pile onto that, Destiny 2 is probably going to be rated T for teen, so mommies are more likely to buy it for their special little boy. Now let's talk numbers real quick. Out of the 16 Call of Duty games released on consoles, including the upcoming Call of Duty World War II, 7 of those 16 games have already been set in World War II. That is nearly half of all the games in the franchise. Isn't it enough already? Didn't we move on from World War II for a reason? Yes, we did. We moved on because it got stale. Everybody was getting sick of it. There is absolutely nothing that Sledgehammer Games can do from a gameplay standpoint that we haven't already played before. And to that end, what can Sledgehammer Games do from a storytelling perspective that we haven't already seen before? What is this game going to do to top Saving Private Ryan, or Fury, or Enemy at the Gates, or Band of Brothers? Absolutely nothing. My point is, the story for this game, at best, will pass off as generic and nothing better. They want you to believe otherwise, but there's really practically nothing that they can do, because this genre has been tapped out for years now. However, I am all about credit where credit's due, so I am sure this game will have some pretty cool action moments in it, some really cool set pieces, since Sledgehammer Games did do a great job with Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare is actually probably my favorite Call of Duty campaign since Call of Duty 2. It had, like I said, neat set pieces, a fun, kind of campy, goofy story, a Kevin Spacey who clearly didn't want to do the facial mocap. You don't believe me? Seriously. Pick out any other character in that game and look at how much their face emotes. Look at their range of expression. Look at all the wrinkles and the detail in their face. And then look at Kevin Spacey's Kevin Facey. You could tell right away that he is not nearly as expressive as the other characters. He's got less range of emotion, and in comparison, just lack of detail to the other characters. It's pretty evident to me that he either didn't want to do the facial mocap, didn't have the time to do it, or didn't get paid enough to do said mocap. And whenever he was on screen, that was all I could think about. But I'm getting off topic here. What I'm trying to say is, I had an enjoyable time with Advanced Warfare's campaign, but at the end of the day, all it was some throwaway fun, a one-night stand, a mostly forgettable experience. And that's what I think Call of Duty World War II's campaign is gonna be, a forgettable experience. Something you play through once, maybe twice, then you move on to the multiplayer. Which I think will feel like a step backwards in comparison to not only the other games in the franchise, but to the other games in the genre. Over the past few years, Call of Duty has given us things like wall running and double jumps, or some highly customizable futuristic guns with cool mods and different scopes, several different class types to vary up the gameplay a little bit, all of them with different abilities to choose from. And you could debate that all of that stuff didn't sit too well with the people that play these games. But either way, all of that stuff is now going to be taken away from you. Even when they did implement all those new abilities and movement options, the game still didn't feel fresh. And now, you're going to have all that ripped away from you. And you're going to get the Call of Duty that y'all played 10 years ago. And because of that, there's going to be less creativity with all the class options, the character abilities, the movement mechanics, and most importantly, the kill streaks. The 14-year-old kid that has his parents buy him Call of Duty every single year is going to pick up this one and wonder just where the hell all those features went. His playstyle is going to feel neutered when he can't jump up into the air, run on the wall, hover in place, and shoot an unsuspecting foe beneath him. And I think a lot of people are going to feel that way. And if you disagree with me, you can go to hell and suck my Caucasus. Meanwhile, other games on the market like Destiny 2 will feature a very diverse gameplay experience with a dozen different grenade types, 6 to 9 subclasses, all with different perks and supers, an endless amount of unique, legendary, and exotic weapons that'll slightly shift playstyles, vehicular combat, and abilities like empowering rifts, tactical shields, evade, the list goes on and on. I could talk about Destiny 2 all damn day. But on top of that, you got the Halo 3 anniversary, which is going to have incredible vehicle combat, diverse and unique weapons, tactical gameplay, and equipment that vastly changes how certain encounters can play out. Then you also got Battlefront 2, that's going to launch around the same time as Call of Duty World War II. Call of Duty has a lot to compete with this year, and the game really needs to stand out, and I don't think it will. Well, it will stand out, but not in the way Activision would like it to. When you hold it up to the other games out there right now, games that are already out and have been for years, it's gonna feel so antiquated. It'll be the only game on the market that isn't a fantastical shooter filled with fun abilities that enhance the FPS genre. The game's probably gonna feel even more outdated than the Halo 3 anniversary. the 10-year-old game. But that's not really a very fair comparison, because Halo 3 has held up incredibly well. I love you, baby. And when I played Halo 2 and that Master Chief Collection a few years ago with those new shiny graphics, man, the game did not feel 10 years old at all. But again, I'm getting off topic. I hear that the Call of Duty World War II game is going to have a multiplayer playlist that is 24v24, and it's currently rumored that vehicles may come into play in some of these matches. But then, at that point, is it even Call of Duty anymore? Or is it now a Battlefield clone? And to that end, are you going to try and tell me that COD is going to have vehicle combat that is as good or better than Battlefield's? Which, just to put it into perspective, the franchise that has featured vehicle combat in literally every single entry to the franchise. Games made by developers who have a really good sense of how to make vehicle combat feel rewarding, fun, and balanced. You're going to tell me that those guys over at Sledgehammer Games, who have no experience at all in developing multiplayer vehicle combat, are going to do it as well as DICE does. You're going to tell me they're going to do it better than Bungie does. I honestly don't think they will. But hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, it is possible that the 24v24 playlist could somehow stand out from Battlefield. I have no idea how they could, and I don't think they will. I think that at the end of the day, the game is just going to wind up feeling like it has for the past 15 years. And there's going to be a lot of disappointed people a couple of days after this game launches. But you know, I honestly hope I'm wrong. I'll play a couple of matches of the multiplayer, and if I'm wrong, I'll come here and I'll come back on here and tell all of you that I'm wrong. Because at the end of the day, if a game is good, we all win, right? That's really all I want, is just to play some good games. Now, I do think that this game is going to sell really well, due to curious kids that have never played a World War II game before, and people who are going to get all nostalgic over the older COD games. But ultimately, the player population count will die off very quickly, as it will not have much to offer in terms of depth or unlocks. It'll just be the same old COD you've been playing all these years, except with less features. Meanwhile, I'll be over here, trekking across the galaxy, trying to earn the Chlorelphian Swibbler, the new exotic gun that makes everything in my life feel worthwhile. You have fun trying to get the skin for your pink MP40. And then what's Activision gonna do if this game is incredibly successful? What are they gonna call the sequel? Call of Duty World War II 2? Idiots. Anyway, what do you guys think? You think I'm dead wrong? Do you think World War II is where this franchise needs to stay? Or do you think that Sledgehammer's efforts will fall flat on its face? Let me know down in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, as it really does help a small channel like mine get some much needed recognition. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and subscribe. I try to do one video a week, and they're all pretty damn good. I'm a very creative guy, and I have an endless amount of ideas that I am very excited to act on. Man. And just real quick to Ty Fox Emperor, a Resident Evil 7 video will be coming soon. Tyrell got kinda busy due to some unforeseen circumstances. His mama is in the hospital. Everything is fine. He's just gonna be delayed for a little bit. Video's still coming. But before then, I'll see all you sexy little kids next week in another video. Bye bye everyone.